good. They beat me unmercifully. They beat me like an Arab with a dog. And then to top that, they kicked my ass over and over. My poor ass bore it silently as well as stoically. Stubborn as a mule, my little burro. They beat it pretty badly, too. And after they had had enough of that, they hauled us off to the Hooskow, my diminutive ass and I. Then they hauled us off to Treblinka. Then they hauled us off to Dachau. Then they hauled us up to Auschwitz. Then they hauled us off to Bergen-Belsen. Then they shipped us off to Babi Yar. Then they hauled us off to Goree Island, through the door of no return. From where they shipped us off to America, where they stripped us of our dignity and continued to beat us. They stripped the stripper. I had been as naked as my ass, but they unclothed me. Then they hauled us off to Angola, Louisiana. And then they hauled us off to Parchment Farm. Old man Parchment was long since dead, and I suspect I know how it happened. His farm was a killer. Then they hauled us off to Sing Sing. Then they hauled us off to Attica, New York, to the Storm King Correctional Center, as it was to be renamed later, as the name Attica would bring too many people's minds. It was to be a dog's life. After stripping me of my dignity and beating me, maybe it was the other way around, the next thing they did was to separate me from my ass, after which I was given a haircut and a number, 221903. As far as the authorities were concerned, John no longer existed to me. I don't know why they bothered with the haircut. They already had me by the short hairs, but I couldn't complain. The taxpayers too. It seemed like a terrible redundancy and an incredible waste of money. It was said to be a way of assuring recidivism. Upstate New York is very beautiful, but it can also be very gray. The skies over that place were as gray as it got, and everything was the color of the sky itself. The trees outside, the walls that bore the greatest apples, the 40-foot-high wall that was as thick as the fat heads of the Dutch and those Germans that had resettled the region, replacing an indigenous population that had either been exterminated or shipped off to gray, remote areas called reservations, where, luckily, they became tourist attractions. The 6 machine gun turrets with their rifle-toting guards that stood above the wall, the eyes and faces of the guards, though their uniforms were the darkest blue, blue as that night sky, with black stripes streaking down the leggings like black lightning, uniforms that were no newer and no better kept than the man who had brought me here, who told me as he was leaving that if I ever got out of there, he would hunt me down and find me. A large yard that euphemistically served as a recreational area. The bleachers where convicts sat watching the most desperate games or gambling, or mumbling in great tones to each other about the grayest matter, or simply sat staring darkly off into space, maybe pulling on a cigarette while watching the gray smoke curl skyward, creating the cruelest illusion of freedom and lightness as the mind itself was stamped indelibly